we stayed on this slide more than 20 seconds. So I'll tell you a fun fact. I don't know if Martin even knows that, but actually this place was supposed to be called initially Generator. But we heard that there's a place like that, and we had to change it. So now you're here in Resonator. Yeah, we had the same people working on the project, so that was the connection. Anyway, so why do we need creative tech hubs? I mean, that's a new term, I guess, but I'm going to a little bit more details what it means to me. Obviously, there are different statements wherever you look, like people talk about community. So one of the aspects is obviously community empowerment and inclusivity. And by that, I mean, there are different definitions. What it means to me, it's more about bringing different people from different backgrounds together in one place and actually hosting communities, like not owning people and being part of our community, but more or less like creating these connections through existing communities. And sometimes we're even like creating our own bubbles, if we can call them like that. We have these things like resonating minds. We're bringing experts, showing their, obviously their projects and their expertise to others from the community who have interest, but many different like game development, design communities and so on. Like we're trying to bridge them together. And this is one of those, I guess. So happy to have you here. The other aspect which is important is the democratization of technology, or just access to technology, which is something which I believe is something which change down the line, like in many different places, not just here, because it doesn't make sense to invest like when you want to obviously try out new things, you want to be able to provide obviously the tools to people who don't have access to them, can't afford them, or they need them just for amount of time, and then it's irrelevant to keep it. So we have a lot of different labs and a lot of gadgets which we want to provide to people so that they can have free access or paid access sometimes, depending on the case, to experiment and try and actually motivate them to learn new things as well. And that's the third part, which is super, super essential in my opinion, is the educational and the skill development part, which obviously there are many different ways, and obviously through creative workshops, through different trainings and so on. The way we're doing it, we're reorganizing some of those on our own. So we have different topics we're covering, like maker things, 3D printing. We have a lot of sound-related workshops, design-related workshops. So there are many different things we want to contribute to. But we're also inviting others to do their own thing and spread the knowledge, be it like through paid courses or others. So that's a very important thing. But the other important thing is actually to bring in the kids into the mix. And obviously we have another company also doing that, but we want to create the ability for any school to be able to see and learn from what we've built. So STEM is now quite popular. We are doing a lot of STEM related things, but it's not just STEM, it's just being able to show kids what it is to actually be in a real working environment. And we had these programs for kids from different communities which are underserved, so showing them what it is to be an engineer, showing them what it is to be a sound designer, like giving them some idea of how they can actually develop skills which are relevant to jobs in future. And recycling plastics and other things which were done in the past, electronics, so it's quite interesting to actually see kids do it. And we are sending teams to robotics competitions worldwide and so on. Collaboration in networking is obviously super key in these communities. They happen naturally quite often, but sometimes you need to nurture them as well. So we're trying to empower people to connect and do things together. Obviously, it's not up to us to make that decision, but it happens naturally when people are just somewhere together. So the hope is that these kind of spaces will just create the environment for people to interact and work together on different projects, be it social related or others. And we had luck to be able to work with quite a lot of NGOs and different organizations to actually see that in action. The cultural enrichment, like we're not super focused on arts, but somehow it always happens around us. So we had a lot of things which the creative community or the artistic community, they also relies on technology. So we're helping them to actually learn about new opportunities, how they can use technology. But we're actually also building tools for that as well, which I'll show in the innovation part. But yeah, we had exhibitions, we had concerts, we had all sorts of different things in VR, outside of VR. And I think it's quite an important part to mix it into the artistic community is bringing a completely different aspect to real world problems, and that's quite key. Like basically to burst the bubble of the technologists and other people and entrepreneurs. And there's the social impact, which is somehow connected to all this, and it's basically empowering individuals to be able to dream big and do their own thing, giving them the tools, giving them an environment to test and try out, and becoming independent businesses down the line. But also work on problems which have like a long tail kind of solution, like figuring out bigger problems which no one on its own can. And that's why community spaces are important, like bringing the people who have interest to contribute even on on a voluntary basis, or just have expertise which is relevant to the problem. And we've been lucky to have quite a lot of these happening. So in urban planning, creative activism, disinformation, recycling. Throughout COVID, it was super fun to create PPE masks for. That was actually one of the first projects with the Resonator Foundation. We equipped 800 hospitals in Bulgaria with PPE masks, which are comfortable for them. So yeah, this element is very much part of what we do, and it's part of our mission. And it's something we try to service through innovation. And creative technology is something where when you put different minds together, like you can expect that's like it becomes like a breeding ground for all sorts of ideas and innovation. It happens naturally, and we had luck to collaborate with some universities, creating nanosatellites, creating solutions for creative freedom and artists, and controlling different things like sound, visuals, creating robots, creating PPE masks, and all sorts of other interesting gadgets. So it's super fun to be here sometimes, which leads to the economic growth and the potential. And I think that's one of the missions these hubs should have, is basically creating an opportunity for people to become independent and do things. And that's, in a sense, hopefully will support them and will balance out like big business and which have funding and access to capital, with small entrepreneurs and businesses which don't have any of that, but they have ideas and they can actually monetize it. And yeah, that's part of it's the same slide. Sorry, I mean different slide but the same content. So I guess I wanted just to show a quick video as well, so I think I'm right on time, to just get a sense of what it is when it's full of people creating. By the way, there's no stock footage, everything's shot here. Yeah, and the most important question is like, what is it to you? Because obviously this is our vision, but without you and the community, it doesn't really make any sense. So that was a joke which we did when everyone said like, is this a co-working? And we said like, no, actually not everything is a co-working, but yeah, feel free to join us and work with us. So yeah, thanks. And hopefully you have an answer to this question as well.